The series begins with Jong, who has been bullied since she was a child to the extent that the neighbors mistook her for a boy. Her family constantly mocked her, saying she was ugly like her mother and not beautiful like her father and siblings. Even when she grew up and reached high school, her classmates continued to bully her. Jong tried to make friends with the other students, but no one acknowledged her. One day, she decided to confess her love to a handsome worker at the school, but he rejected her and humiliated her in front of everyone. At that moment, her friend Simi and the rest of the group recorded everything and made fun of her. Because of this, Jong was devastated by the negative comments and decided to end her life. Just before she jumped off the roof of a tall building, a handsome young man saved her. He then scolded her, saying she was reckless and didn't realize the pain she would have caused her family. As they went down, she couldn't see well because her glasses had broken, so he carried her until they reached the ground. Jong asked him if he had ever known someone who committed suicide, but he didn't respond. In the end, before he left, she thanked him, all while she couldn't see him clearly due to her very weak eyesight. At the same time, Jong's mother found out that her husband had been scammed and lost all their money. That night, while in her room, Jong remembered everything that had happened and decided to go to school the next day wearing makeup. But since she didn't know how to apply it, she ended up looking terrible. She was bullied again, so she went home and asked her mother to transfer her to another school. Her mother told her they would move out entirely because her father had been scammed. The next day, Jong used all her money to buy makeup and learned how to apply it properly. On her first day at the new school, everyone was impressed by her beauty. This is where she met Suho, the boy who had saved her before. However, she didn't recognize him because she hadn't seen him properly that day, and Suho didn't recognize her either because she had become so beautiful. She accidentally bumped into him since she wasn't wearing her glasses, and her makeup got smudged on his jacket. In class, the teacher welcomed Jong as a new student. After the lesson, she befriended So and Jin. Later, Suho came to give her his jacket so she could clean it. After school, Jong went out with her new friends for the first time and was thrilled with her new appearance and the fact that she finally had friends. That night, she visited the library she used to go to as a child. She was drawn to a book, but just as she was about to take it, someone else reached for it from behind her. She pulled the book, lost her balance, and fell onto the person, only to realize it was Suho, her classmate. Panicking because she wasn't wearing makeup, she ran home. At that moment, Suho realized she was the same girl he had saved before. The next day, as usual, Suho acted cold toward her, so she assumed he hadn't figured out her secret. Later, at the mall, she spotted her old school bullies and tried to run away from them. Before she could react, she almost got hit by a boy on a motorcycle, and they both fell to the ground. She checked to see if he was okay, and he gave her his helmet before a group of guys caught up to him and started beating him. Suddenly, the sound of police sirens filled the air, and the attackers fled. It turned out that Jong had called the police, saving him. However, she got scared of him and ran away. Later, she went to the library without makeup and encountered Suho again. She tried to hide, but she tripped, and he caught her. From their conversation, she realized that he knew her. She thought he had figured out that she was his classmate without makeup, but in reality, he recognized her as the girl he had once saved. Jong made a deal with him. He would keep her secret, and in return, she would give him the original copy of their favorite book. They later had a meal together, and he mentioned that it was his birthday. She gave him a special sticker as a birthday gift, which made him happy. He even stuck it on his bedside lamp. The next day, Jong prepared Suho's jacket along with the book and took them to school, including a letter thanking him for keeping her secret. When she arrived at school, she saw the boy with the helmet and found out his name was Seo-jun. She also learned that he was Suho's rival. Despite the fact that they were once friends, something had happened between them, which would be revealed later. Later, Jong asked Suho to meet her on the rooftop, which surprised him. When he arrived, she realized from his words that he didn't know anything about her secret. Remembering the letter, she quickly ran to take the book back before he could discover the truth. When she got home, she was shocked to receive a call from Suho, asking her to bring his book and meet him. She didn't know whether to meet him in her natural look, as the girl from the library, or with makeup, as Jong. In the end, she decided to meet him wearing the helmet. When she realized he only wanted the book, she took off the helmet and sat with him, and he started looking at her with admiration. The next day, she brought him his jacket. Meanwhile, her friend Sue's boyfriend was preparing a surprise for her, but another classmate accidentally threw the cake onto Jong's face. Panicking, she feared that someone would see her without makeup and bully her, so she started crying. But Suho suddenly appeared, covered her face with his jacket, and escorted her to the bathroom so she could fix her makeup. She wondered why he kept helping her, but the truth was, he already knew she was the ugly girl he had saved before. That night, he saw her at the library and told her, "You're Jong, my classmate." But she denied it. He stepped closer, removed her glasses and let her hair down, then confidently said he was sure she was Jong. At that moment, her mother entered the library to take her home. The next morning at school, Jong begged Suho not to reveal her secret, offering to do whatever he wanted in return. When class started, he asked her to get his favorite drink, and she quickly brought it. Then, he asked for a book, and she got it for him too. It was clear that he was just doing this as an excuse to see her. Later, he invited her to the rooftop to eat together. That night, he asked her for another book from the library, and when she arrived, she tripped and fell, attracting a group of bullies who started mocking her. This made her go to Suho, feeling sad. She told him she couldn't sleep because of his requests, and was also afraid her secret would be exposed. She cried, saying, "It's not my fault that I was born ugly." Feeling guilty, Suho gave her his jacket, treated her injured leg, and apologized to her. Meanwhile, Seo-jun, the helmet boy, saw them together. The next day at school, Seo-jun tried to get closer to Jong. She thought it was because of the helmet, but in reality, he wanted to provoke Suho after realizing he was interested in her. This led to a confrontation between Suho and Seo-jun. During their argument, Seo-jun angrily asked Suho, "How can you be happy when you were the reason our friend died?" This revealed that their friend's death was what caused them to become enemies. The details of this story would be revealed later. Back in class, the students started believing that both Seo-jun and Suho liked Jong and were competing for her. That night, Suho went to the library and recalled memories from his childhood. He remembered a little girl who used to play with him, Jong. Returning to the present, Jong arrived with his favorite drink. Suho was hiding the fact that he had known her since they were kids. Just before some books fell on her, he saved her. At that moment, she noticed the wound on his lip, and at the same time, he told her, "You're beautiful even without makeup." The next night, Jong was on her way to meet her friends when Suho found out they had set her up on a date with a very handsome guy. Feeling jealous, he started treating her nicely. Later, Jong discovered that Seo-jun was actually her neighbor. His mother even asked Jong to inform her if she ever saw Seo-jun riding a motorcycle. Jong went to meet her friend, but Suho secretly followed her. While they were at the cinema, he waited for her to leave and then confronted her date. He forced the guy to call Jong and break things off with her. The next day at school, Jong took a photo of Seo-jun on his motorcycle to show his mother, but he used the opportunity to tease Suho and even told Jong he would do anything she asked. Later at a restaurant, he bought her a huge amount of her favorite food. When they stepped outside, a guy accidentally bumped into Jong, and just before she fell, Seo-jun caught her, falling for her in the process. At that moment, Suho saw them together. Meanwhile, a younger girl was seen being bullied by a group of girls in a music group because her voice was better than theirs. Jong saw this from afar and decided to defend her, remembering the bullying she had suffered in the past. That night, Suho confronted Seo-jun, telling him, "Stay away from Jong, I love her," and warned him not to use her as part of his revenge. But Seo-jun simply smirked and replied that he liked her too. The next day at school, Jong helped the younger girl put on makeup to make her look beautiful for a performance. The surprise? That girl turned out to be Seo-jun's younger sister. After that, Jong was shocked by the way Suho spoke to her and started crying because he told her, "I only feel pity for you because you're ugly," and added, "There's no way I could ever like you." But it turned out he said that to protect her from Seo-jun, who was determined to take revenge on him, blaming him for their friend's death. Going back in time, we learned that Suho carried deep guilt because their third friend, Seon, had called him before committing suicide, but Suho didn't answer. Seon then listened to a song by Suho, who was a singer, got deeply affected, and took his own life. To this day, Suho feels responsible for Seon's death. Jong saw Suho in distress and tried to comfort him, but he walked away. When she got home, she found his jacket and realized that he was the same person who had saved her from committing suicide. She also learned about his connection to Seon, so she quickly rushed to the place where Suho had saved her, which was the same place Seon had taken his life. There, she hugged Suho and comforted him. The next day at school, she started ignoring Suho because of what he had said to her. Later, she met the younger girl, who told her, "I learned to face the bullies," and added, "I love the way I was born." She then asked Jong to teach her how to do makeup. Jong went to her house where she met Seo-jun, who thanked her for helping his sister. This made him start to genuinely like Jong. When Jong returned home, she found out that her mother had met Suho and invited him to dinner. Her family liked him a lot, but Jong was still upset with him for calling her ugly. The next day, Jong went to the mall with her sister and ran into her old school bullies. As usual, they mocked her and took her phone and wallet. But Suho showed up, retrieved her belongings, and gave them back to her. She asked him, "Did you help me just because you felt sorry for me?" and started confronting him. But Suho suddenly hugged her and left. At the same time, a group of people who hated Seo-jun kidnapped Jong, thinking she was his girlfriend. Later, Suho and Seo-jun arrived and started fighting the bullies to save Jong. During the fight, Jong was scared for Suho because she had feelings for him. The next day, Jong went to a match with her friends to support their favorite team. The team's star player was interested in her and tried to get to know her. He later visited her at school and invited her to the final match. All of this happened in front of Suho and Seo-jun, who were both dying of jealousy. At home, Jung's mother found out that her daughter's grades were low, so she threw away all of her makeup. When Jung returned and discovered this, she got upset and told her family, "None of you know that I was bullied because of my ugly face. Makeup is what made people love me. Now you're forcing me to go back to being ugly." She then ran to retrieve her makeup from the trash while crying. Suho saw her, took her to the library, brought her food, and tried to cheer her up. She was surprised and asked him, "Why are you being so kind today?" But he didn't answer. As they were walking, he got close to her, tucked a hair clip into her hair, and then left. The next day, Jung saw Suho hugging Jin and realized that she was his childhood friend. They were always together because Suho sympathized with Jin, as her father frequently abused her. Jung felt sad after witnessing this. When she walked into class, she saw Jin wearing Suho's cap and assumed that he had feelings for her. At the same time, Jung's younger sister was confessing her love to her teacher. The following day, Seo-jun invited Jung to the mall to help him pick out a gift for his sister. It became clear that he really liked her. There, they ran into Suho, and both boys tried to hold Jung's hand. Annoyed, she quickly walked out of the elevator. Outside the mall, Jung met the soccer star who liked her. She confessed to him, "I love someone else, but unfortunately, we can't be together." Later, Suho and Seo-jun had a confrontation and finally admitted to each other that they both loved Jung. The next day, Suho decided to buy a necklace for Jung, planning to give it to her when he confessed his feelings. Meanwhile, Jung was packing her bag for a school trip. Her sister offered to take her, but only as an excuse to see the teacher she had a crush on. During the trip, Seo-jun tried to get closer to Jung. Coincidentally, they wore matching outfits, which led everyone to believe they were dating, but Jung denied it. Both Suho and Seo-jun continued trying to win Jung over, and their rivalry grew stronger. Meanwhile, Jin was always by Suho's side because she had feelings for him. Later, Jung's friends told her that Suho and Jin were in love. That night, Suho took Jung on a private boat ride. They listened to music and took pictures together. Suddenly, Jung fell into the water, and Suho immediately jumped in to save her. For the third time, he saw her bare face without makeup. Meanwhile, their classmates were exploring the forest. When Jung got out of the water, she tried to escape but ended up falling into the mud. Eventually, she managed to get away. The next day, she got sick and was alone on the bus. Seo-jun noticed this, gave her medicine, and covered her with his jacket. He stayed by her side, showing his kindness. As always, another fight broke out between Suho and Seo-jun because of Jung. Later, Suho realized that if he waited any longer, Seo-jun might confess his feelings to Jung before he could. So he made up his mind to confess to her as soon as possible, no matter what happened. That night, Seo-jun sang a romantic song for Jung, but her eyes were on Suho the entire time. Then she fell into a state of sadness and told Soo-jun that she loves Suho, but unfortunately, she thinks he loves her friend Jin. After that, she walked away. But at that moment, Suho saw them, ran after her, and asked, "Do you love Soo-jun?" But Jung said no, and asked him, "Why do you treat me kindly if you actually love Jin?" Suho told her, "I love you," gave her a kiss, and gave her the necklace. Jung was embarrassed and ran away quickly. On the way, Jin saw her for the first time without makeup. Jung told her about the bullying she had suffered since childhood because of her bad looks. Jin felt sorry for her and decided to help her and keep her secret. The next day, Jung was treating Suho badly. We find out that they agreed to keep their relationship a secret from everyone because she was afraid of his fans. Later, he invited her to a restaurant. But when she saw their friends coming, she asked Suho to hide under the table so no one would see him. After the restaurant, they went to a place where a competition was being held by Selena, the makeup expert Jung admires. She answered correctly, won a prize, and was very happy. When she got home, she looked up the prices of a makeup course online and found out it was very expensive. Of course, the next day, she was sleeping in class because she had stayed up late looking for a job. At that time, Jin saw her wearing the same necklace she had seen before with Suho, and that's how she realized they were in a relationship. This made Jin feel jealous. A few days later, Jung started working as a model and did a photo shoot with Soo-jun, where they were very close to each other. At that moment, Suho was having a family lunch with Jin since, as we know, they are childhood friends. Then, we see Jung and Soo-jun having lunch together, and they started becoming just friends. At least, that's how she saw it. But for Soo-jun, he truly loved her. Meanwhile, Jung's father decided to leave home and look for the scammer who stole his money. On the way, he met Suho and offered to let him stay at his place for the night, and Suho agreed. At school, Soo-jun found a job for Jung with him at the same cafe. Suho saw them together, took her away, and walked off. At night, Jung was sad, So Suho went to see her and suggested they train together. She told him about the makeup course she wanted to take, and he offered to pay for it, but she refused. After that, she went to his house to watch a horror movie. At the same time, her father was hiding under the couch, eating their food. With every scary scene, Suho got scared, while Jung was the one reassuring him. They were about to kiss when suddenly her father grabbed Suho's leg. At first, they thought it was the monster from the movie, so Jung grabbed a pan and hit him on the head. Then she realized it was her father. Later, Jung went to tell her friend Jin about her relationship with Suho. But before she could speak, Jin said she had loved Suho for a long time and wanted Jung to come with her to buy him a gift before confessing her feelings. Jung was shocked and said nothing. At work, Jung was sad all day and cried a lot, so Sujin gave her a ride home. On the way, they ran into her mother, who invited him to dinner. At the same time, Suho was also at her house. Then we see a cooking competition between Suho and Sujin, as they both tried to impress everyone. The next day at school, a rumor spread that Jung was dating Sujin because of the pictures they took. Suho didn't know anything about it, so he asked Jung to stay away from Sujin and quit her job. She refused and told him, "Sujin and I are just friends, just like you and Jin." She also said that he couldn't control her life. At that moment, her sister was arguing with Suho's father about stealing a song that their late friend Sion had written before he died. Here, we find out that Jong's sister works for Suho's father's company. We also learn that Suho's father was the reason for Sion's death because he spread a rumor that Sion was a bully to cover up his own scandal with an actress. Because of this, Sion committed suicide. Suho overheard everything, broke down, and ran away. As he was crossing the street, a car almost hit him. Sujin saw him and tried to pull him away, but both of them got hit. In the hospital, Suho remembered all the details of Sion's accident and how he couldn't answer Sion's last call. It was because he was embarrassed about what his father had done, spreading rumors that Sion was a bully just to cover up his scandal with the actress. That's why Sion took his own life. After that, Jung told her friend that she was going to date Suho. Jin told her they would remain friends no matter what, but it was clear that Jin was planning something bad for Jung. At home, Jung tried to call Suho, but his phone was off. She found out from her sister that he had been in an accident, so she rushed to the hospital and cried beside his bed. But then she saw Sujin was there too, and quickly hid next to Suho because she wasn't wearing makeup. They told Sujin she was Suho's relative, but he didn't believe it. Before she left, Suho hugged her and apologized for bullying her before. At school, a new student named Hyman joined Jung's class. She used to go to Jung's old school. At the same time, Suho and Sujin's relationship started improving, and it looked like they were going to be friends again. Meanwhile, Hyman was secretly watching and taking pictures of Jung on her way to school. It turned out that a bully named Seaman had promised to destroy Jung if Hyman didn't bring her information about her. Seaman had a crush on Sujun and thought Jung was dating him, but she didn't know that Jung was actually the same girl they used to bully at their old school. Then, Sohu's father went to check on his son, but since Sohu resented him, he drove him away. This worsened Sohu's condition due to his emotional distress. Jung stayed by his side all night, and it was later revealed that his father wasn't actually the one who leaked Sion's scandal. It was his manager. Because of this, Sojun apologized to Sohu for everything that happened, and they became friends again. Afterwards, Sohu's father decided to retire from his job. The next day, Jung visited Sohu in the hospital, and as soon as she saw he had recovered, she hugged him. This happened right in front of Jin, who stood there filled with jealousy and decided to take revenge on them. A few days later, Sohu was discharged from the hospital and went to Jung's house so they could go to school together. At that moment, Jung saw Hyman and ignored her because she remembered how she never stood up for her when she was being bullied in the past. In class, Jung found out that her friend Sue had entered her into a beauty pageant competition against the bully, Simon. Meanwhile, Jin continued her efforts to make Sohu fall for her, but he rejected her, telling her, "I'm already in a relationship, and you're just a friend." The next day, when Jung entered the classroom, she discovered that she had won the competition. When Seaman found out she lost, she decided to punish Hyman. However, Jung saw what was happening and managed to save Hyman from them. After that, Jung realized she had lost the necklace that Sohu had given her, so she started looking for it at school. But the necklace was actually with her cunning friend Jin, who went to Sohu and confessed her love to him. When he rejected her, she spitefully threw the necklace into the fire. Sohu then bought Jung another necklace and told her he had found it, without mentioning what Jin had done. The next day at school, Jung noticed how her classmates were looking at her mockingly. She soon discovered that a video of her being bullied, showing her with an unflattering appearance without makeup, had been uploaded to the school website. She broke down as her classmates laughed at her. Not only that, but they also gathered around her and wiped off her makeup. Fortunately, Sohu arrived just in time and saved her. Sojun also saw the video and immediately confronted Seaman, demanding that she delete it. However, he was shocked to learn that Jin was actually the one who leaked the bullying video. At the same time, Sohoo was extremely worried about Jong, fearing that she might harm herself, so he went to her house. But she didn't want to talk to anyone. Meanwhile, negative comments about the video kept increasing online, but Sojun defended Jong and responded to every single one of them. Sohoo, on the other hand, bought food for Jong and sent it through her younger brother. When she received it, she felt deeply touched and realized how much Sohoo truly loved her. The next day, Jong went to Jin's house, secretly hoping that Jin wasn't the one who posted the video. However, Jin shamelessly admitted it. Jong was heartbroken and burst into tears because Jin had been her closest friend. When Jong returned home feeling miserable, her mother learned about the bullying and felt guilty for throwing away Jong's makeup. Regretting everything, she bought her a brand new makeup set, which made Jong very happy. The following day, Jong met with Sohoo, who told her, "I love you in every way. You are beautiful, and you should face everyone and accept yourself." Then, he lifted her up and carried her home. Later, he sent her a song expressing his love for her, just to cheer her up. After that, he called his father to say goodbye, as his father was leaving for medical treatment in the US. This was after Jong had encouraged Sohoo to forgive him. The next day, Jong made a bold decision. She went to school without any makeup. Sohoo embraced her in front of everyone, officially announcing their relationship. They walked into class together, and he brought her favorite juice. Jin watched them, seething with jealousy. Out of spite, Jin started mocking and bullying Jong again, but their friend Soo overheard her and called her the worst friend ever before walking away. This left Jin completely alone. Later, Jong fell asleep in class while Sojun sat nearby, watching over her and reminiscing about all their memories together. It became clear that Sojun also had feelings for Jong. That night, Jong was out with her friend Soo when they suddenly saw the bullies making fun of Hyman. Jong decided to stand up for her, and a fight broke out between them. A few days later, Jong started pursuing her dream and joined a makeup course. Meanwhile, Sohoo decided to learn knitting so he could make a scarf for his beloved Jong. The next day, he met up with Jong and gave her the scarf. She was overjoyed. They spent the whole day together at a cafe, drawing pictures of each other and laughing non-stop. However, Sohoo later found out that his father needed serious surgery in the US and that his condition was critical. Sohoo immediately rushed to the airport to be with him, and Jong bid him farewell. When he arrived, he saw how weak his father was, so he did his best to take care of him. Their relationship slowly started to heal. Meanwhile, Jong called Sohoo every day to check on his father's condition. But as time went on, and with his father's treatment taking longer than expected, Sohoo began feeling guilty. He felt like he was being unfair to Jong, and that they needed to break up because his father's recovery would take too long. So he called Jong and told her they had to part ways. Jong was devastated. She cried her heart out as memories of them flooded her mind. Later, she went to the library and saw some writing on the wall that made her realize that Sohoo was actually the same boy who used to sit with her when they were little. She was heartbroken over their breakup and kept trying to send him messages, telling him about her day and checking on him. But Sohoo never replied, even though he still thought about her and believed that staying apart was the best thing for her. After a few days, Jong applied to university and studied cosmetology, but she still couldn't stop thinking about Sohoo. During this period, she decided to stop sending him messages. Jong later started working as an assistant for a famous actress who had feelings for Sojun. The actress would often scold Jong for not helping her get close to Sojun, since he was her friend. Meanwhile, Sojun had become a very famous singer. 2 years passed since Jong and Sohoo's breakup. One night, Jong went out with her friends and passed out from drinking too much. Coincidentally, Sojun was at the same cafe and saw her unconscious. He took her home, making it clear that he had feelings for her. The next day, Sojun confessed to Jong that he had been in love with her for 3 years and asked her to give him a chance by going out with him before making her final decision. Jong agreed. That night, they met up, and Sojun brought her flowers. Coincidentally, the actress was also there and arrogantly ordered Jong to put her shoes on for her. But Sojun scolded the actress and threw the shoes aside. He then took Jong to dinner, where they talked and got to know each other better while he tried to make her fall for him. Afterward, Jong left, but as she walked away, snow began to fall, triggering an old memory of her and Sohoo. She remembered how they had once planned to meet at a specific place, so she went there. To her surprise, Sohoo was also there. This was their first encounter after 2 years. Jong was upset with him and walked away. However, she suddenly felt unwell, and Sohoo took her to the hospital. While he stepped out to speak with the nurse about her condition, Jong seized the opportunity to escape and returned home. Later, Sojun found out from his sister that Sohoo had returned from abroad. He decided to meet up with Sohoo, and as they talked, he realized that Sohoo had already seen Jong again. which made him uneasy. The next day, Sojun took Jong out again, and they had a great time together. When he dropped her off at her house, they saw Sohoo standing nearby. To provoke him, Sojun deliberately hugged Jong in front of him. Jong was torn between the two and chose to go inside, leaving them both standing there. Later, Sojun met with Sohoo and told him that he and Jong were now together, but Sohoo knew that Jong still loved him. The following day, Jong met up with Sojun and confessed that she was in love with Sohoo. Sojun told her to hurry and catch Sohoo before he left for America. Jong ran as fast as she could to reach Sohoo in time. Meanwhile, Sojun was heartbroken, knowing that Jong didn't love him the way he loved her. He recalled all their memories together and broke down in tears. When Jong arrived at Sohoo's house, she hugged him tightly, crying. He comforted her and revealed that he wasn't actually leaving for America. She then realized that Sojun had done all of this to bring them back together. The next morning, Sohoo prepared breakfast for Jong, and they ate together. Jong asked him to brush her hair, and he gladly agreed. The following day, Jong met up with Sojun and sincerely thanked him for reuniting her with Sohoo. Sojun told her that he was happy he confessed his feelings because, even though she rejected him, it would help him move on. He assured her that they were now just friends. After that, Sohoo decided to study music and continue working at his father's company. The next day, Sohoo was at the studio with Sojun as he recorded his first album. Meanwhile, Jong and Jin reconciled. Jin had saved Jong from being attacked by one of the actress's staff members. After that, she apologized to Jong for all the bullying she had done in the past. Jong forgave her and even invited her to her sister's wedding to the teacher. On the wedding day, Jong did her sister's makeup. All their friends gathered to celebrate, and everyone danced happily at the wedding. The following day, Sojun had a big concert, and both Sohoo and Jong attended. They were overjoyed. Sohoo confessed his love to Jong, telling her that she was the most beautiful girl he had ever met. The series ended with a romantic kiss. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more Korean and Asian drama summaries coming soon.